Hi, this is Brian with ActiveMelody.com. Well, a few days ago, Eric Clapton celebrated his 74th birthday, and somebody had emailed me saying, you should create a lesson in honor of his birthday, and I thought about it and thought, it's not a bad idea. It's been a while since I've done a lesson in his style, and I don't think I've ever specifically covered his acoustic playing. He's got so much cool stuff that he does with acoustic guitar that came out of that Unplugged era of his career. And so that's what we're going to be taking a look at. The jam track that comes with this is a lot of fun. It's just me on an acoustic guitar, so it's kind of like a little virtual jam session, me and you, two acoustic guitars. And I'll show you how to play everything that I played in the intro note for note. We'll break it all down. And the best part is you'll be able to use these licks in your own playing, whether you use an acoustic or electric guitar. They work either way. So I've got the lesson split into two parts. In this video, we'll take a look at the first half. If you'd like to watch the second half and get the tablature and download the MP3 jam track so that we can jam together, you're going to want to go to ActiveMelody.com, go to the weekly lessons page, and do a search for EP303. Alright, so we're going to cover a lot of material in this week's lesson, but the really cool thing is you're going to walk away with a whole new set of licks that you can use and apply to your own playing. So this isn't about just memorizing, but this is about learning these licks so that when you're at a jam, blues jam, or jamming with your buddies, or writing your own music, you can start to use these licks on electric or acoustic guitar. And you'll find that they're pretty easy to play and they're pretty easy to understand. We're going to connect them back to basic things that you already know, basic chord shapes, so that it's really fairly easy to follow and something that you can play in any key. Now we're going to be playing this in the key of E, but I'm going to show you how you can transpose everything we're going to learn and play it in any key. And that's the beauty of connecting it back to chord shapes. And you can just, as you're playing in another key, you can just visualize the different keys and then the licks will follow. So I remember when Clapton did Unplugged back in 1992. It was on MTV, and I remember watching it the night that it aired. I'd been playing guitar for a few years when that came out, and I remember just being blown away by that type of music. It was ragtime, it was classic traditional blues. And you got to remember, in 1992 with MTV, everything was grunge. The whole Seattle scene was really big. It was Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots. It was those types of bands. And so to hear, Clapton doing a Bessie Smith song was like, it was like a breath of fresh air for my ear. It was like really nice, and it was so influential to so many guitar players. Everybody that played guitar was playing those songs, playing those licks, and you still hear that to this day. I mean, it was that influential, that record. And so it obviously was a big, probably the highlight of Clapton's career. It was probably the biggest moment for him. So anyway, because of that, I thought that this would be a great lesson to do. Now, this is not any particular song from that record. For copyright reasons, I didn't do that. But these are a lot of his classic licks that he played back then, licks that he still plays to this day. And they're sort of licks that everybody uses now. And I attribute a lot of that to Eric Clapton. So we're going to be playing this in the key of E. It's just a standard 12-bar blues. Key of E is a shuffle. It's the kind of thing, if you're sitting down with two guitar players and you want to jam with somebody, this is the kind of thing somebody's going to play that classic shuffle blues. And these licks work really well over that. So the first lick we're going to learn sounds like this. It's a Robert Johnson style lick, and Clapton uses this quite a bit, and lots of other people do. And I always think it sounds kind of like a piano lick, so I always thought that Robert Johnson probably was influenced by piano players back in the day. But what we're going to be doing is playing an E7 chord, and then go down a half step to an E diminished 7, and then back to that E7. Now all you're doing to play this is, if you think of the D7 chord down in first position, you take that chord shape and you slide it up 2 frets, and then that chord shape then becomes an E7. Now these are triads, so they're not they're not 4-string. There's just 3 strings in the chord. And so that's how we're going to play it. Now the timing of this goes like this: triplet, triplet, triplet. It's 3 1 3 1 3 1 3 1. Those are the string numbers. It's actually 3 and then 1 and 2. But what we do is we start with the 3rd string with a downstroke, and then we do an upstroke on strings 1 and 2. If you don't hit the 2nd string, if you just hit string 1, that's okay too. But try and hit the 2nd string with your upstroke. So it goes like this. Right? Now you're going to take that, and then you're going to slide your hand down 1 fret. Everything goes down 1 fret. Same thing. And then we're going to slide it back to the E7. Now that's a classic blues. You've heard that in Red House. The Hendrix song, Red House, starts with that chord shape. Same kind of premise. And so I want you to not just memorize this, but look at how that connects back to your E chord, because we're kind of doing all of this over that E, over the 1 chord. So then if I were to say, let's do it over F, we'll slide everything up. So there's your E chord shape. We're going to slide it up. We're going to bar there. Now we've gone from an E to an F. So how would I play that same Robert Johnson style lick over an F? Look at where your pinky is. We're going to skip that fret. We're going to come up here. Right? So look at how that connects. So now if you did it over A, so just keep that in mind going forward. If you ever want to use that lick or any derivation of that lick, you can now use that. You know how to connect it back to a basic chord shape. Okay? So after this, then I went, kind of the classic Robert Johnson thing. So those are just downstrokes. It's the E7, the E diminished 7. It's 1 2 1 2, and then we come back to the E, and then we walk it up to the 4 chord. So what we're doing there, that's where the song goes to the A. So it goes to that, the A shuffle there. And so what I'm doing is I'm keeping my middle finger and my index finger down. I'm just removing my ring finger, and I'm only playing strings 2 and 3 to walk it chromatically up to this point. Now what is this? Well, first of all, let me show you the notes. So my index finger is on the 5th fret 2nd string. My middle finger is on the 6th fret 3rd string. And if you look at the A bar chord, just strings 2 and 3, that's what we're playing. We're just playing strings 2 and 3 out of your A bar chord. We don't need the whole chord, we just need those 2 notes out of it. So what I was doing then is I was in the E7. I knew the song was going to the 4 chord, so I just walked it up to the A chord. And just remember that going forward. That may seem complicated to think, well, how would you know to do that when you're improvising? And the only way I know to do it is just something I learned a long time ago. And now it's kind of stuck in my head. So I know if I'm going from the 1 chord to the 4 chord, I can go from here and just walk it up. And I can do that in any key. Right? You can start to see how it connects and works in other keys. So kind of practice playing along with some jam tracks in other keys and see if you can do that transition going from that 1 chord to the 4. Okay, now once I came up here, I did that classic little chromatic lick. Look at that. So it's a slide up to the, it's those 2 notes that we walked up to. So your middle finger there, again, is on the 6th fret 3rd string. And then you do an upstroke on the 5th fret 2nd string. And then your ring finger comes up to the 7th fret 1st string. And you walk it down, 7, 6, 5, down to 3. That's all on the 1st string. Now, I don't want you to just play those notes and not put those in context. So remember, we're over the 4 chord now, which is the A chord. So we're kind of playing the chord changes in this part. So there's our A chord. Now look at that lick. Look at that lick and how it kind of connects back to that chord shape. So hopefully, even though those notes aren't necessarily in that chord shape, you can anchor them to that chord shape. So if I told you to play this for over a B, then over the A, right? So you can start to see how they kind of connect. That lick connects back to that chord shape. So that way, going forward, if you like the sound of that, you can use that in anything. So that's how I did it the first time. The second time I went. So it's got a little different timing the second time. So it starts a little faster now. We're going to start again with our middle finger on the 4th fret 3rd string, sliding it up to that 6th fret 3rd string, and then back to that 5th fret 2nd string, same lick, and then watch this. So that's how we're going to wrap it up. And you can hear that works over the E chord. That's where the song goes back to the 1 chord. This lick right here, I've used this over and over again in probably tons of these lessons. So this is going to be familiar for a lot of you that are familiar with the lessons that I do. But I use that all the time when I'm improvising in the key of E because it just sounds so good. So what we're doing is 3rd fret 1st string, open 1st string, and then there's the 2nd string, which is the B string. Middle finger goes down on the 2nd fret 3rd string, and then watch this. There's the open 3rd string, 1st fret on the 3rd string, upstroke on string 1, or strings 1 and 2. Or you could just go ahead and make the full E chord and play the whole E chord in the upstroke. Because your fingers are free, so you might as well. Okay, so backing up then from that A, when we go to the A part, there's the first time through, the second time. Sounds like that. Alright, so let me back us up now from the beginning and I'll play us up to where we are. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we're back to the 1 chord, or the E chord, and so the next thing that I played goes. Alright, now seems like there's a lot there, but a lot of this is going to be kind of repetitive, so we're going to play a lot of the same licks over and over again. It's something Clapton does, so what we're going to do here, that's really easy to do. It's 3-2-0, 3-2-0. It's on the 1st string, and then the 2nd string. And if you think about what's going on there from a scale perspective, the way that I think of that is you're kind of blending the minor and the major pentatonic scale. So minor pentatonic scale and the major pentatonic scale. Right? So you're going. And then middle finger back on the 2nd fret 3rd string. We've already put it there. And then we're going to do that same thing where we do the open 3rd string, hammer onto the 1st fret 3rd string, and then we're going to do 2 upstrokes on the open 1 string. So let's back it up from the beginning of that. So we have, there's your 2 upstrokes on the 1 string, and then I played. So that's the 3rd fret 2nd string, open 2nd string. And then I'm doing a little hammer-on pull-off, a little trill here on the first fret 3rd string, like that. And then I do an upstroke on the 1 string, the open 1 string. So we have. Now that's a classic. That little trill thing there happens quite a bit in blues. I use that a lot, and you can do it in any key. It doesn't even have to be the open string. You could do it. And that works anytime you're going from the flat 3rd to the 3rd in a chord. Okay, so we have. So then after that, the song goes to the 5 chord, which is the B. And so what I did was I could picture the B bar chord up here, and I played basically that same lick, same kind of thing that we did over the A. Remember that whole thing? So over the B, I went. It's the same exact lick, except for there's one extra note in it. So we have. So picture the bar chord there. We're going to take our middle finger, which is in the bar chord. We're going to slide it up to the 8th fret 3rd string. Index finger goes down on the 7th fret 2nd string. And then ring finger on the 9th fret 1st string. We're going to walk it down. All the way down. So it's 9, 8, 7, 5. And then that's the 7th fret 2nd string. Alright, so that's the same lick as that A lick, but now we're just doing it over the B chord. And hopefully it makes sense how you can connect that lick now back to the chord shape. Okay, so let's back it up from the beginning now and play us up to that point. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so now the song goes to the A chord, and I played. It's those same two notes out of that chord that we've already used, where middle finger is on the 6th fret 3rd string, index finger is on the 5th fret 2nd string. So it's just 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. It's that triplet thing. And then we're going to slide that down 2 frets. It's the same fingering, but we're just going down 2 frets. Now what you've done there is you've gone from the A chord down to back to the E chord. That would be like the 7 now, the E chord. So like an E7. Or there's your E7 like we started with. It's just those two notes out of that. So you have. Then we're going to come down to the 2nd fret 3rd string again. Do that same hammer on. There we are again. We're just kind of tracing the notes out of that E chord. Right? Look at that. Now if you learn nothing else in this entire lesson, you've got to learn. Man, that is so powerful right there. Look at that. You can make a whole song out of that. And you can do that in any key, right? If you do it in G. Right, all right, let's back up from the B. We'll take it from the 5 chord to the A. Right, now after that I went. All right, now that's basically a lot of the same stuff we've already played. The only difference is I'm going to play that 3rd fret 1st string twice. And when I play it, I push it sharp a little bit. And then open, open, so that's open 1 string, open 2nd string. Middle finger's on the 2nd fret 3rd string again. And then there's your open 3rd string, 1st fret 3rd string, and then your upstroke on the 1 string. So we have. And then there's your turnaround. So that's just open, which is your A note, your A sharp, which is the 1st fret on the 5th string, and then put your middle finger, make sure you use your middle finger for this, on the 2nd fret 5th string, so that the rest of these fingers can make the B7 chord. Like that. That's a classic little turnaround move that you hear in the key of E all the time. Alright, so that's really all there is to part 1. That's all of the licks, and I know that that's a lot of information. Now in the second video, we'll go through the whole second half. There's a whole new set of licks. And so if you're not a premium member, check it out. It's incredibly affordable. I put out lessons like this every week. High quality. You get the tablature, you get the jam tracks, you get everything you need to be able to learn this stuff. And it's a lot of fun. It's actually a really cool community to be a part of too. It's like a big family. All right, let me back up and I'll play through this part 1 video one more time, and then I'll see you in part 2. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.